Hello, beauties. Welcome to Moms Unbox, a podcast where I unbox with you the how to's, tips, and tricks to empower women to upgrade relationships, intimacy, and parenting. I'm your host, Melanie Caroline, a multidimensional woman, life coach, lover, and mom who's made a lot of fucking mistakes. If you want to live a sensual and liberated life, you've come to the right space. Don't forget to follow Moms Unbox because you don't want to miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Moms Unbox. I am so grateful you are here tuning in with me this week. I hope you're having a great week, but if you're not, I trust that it'll turn around for you. What are we unboxing today? Okay, another heavy conversation, but one that needs to be had. Last week, we talked about can a relationship survive infidelity? And this week, we are talking about releasing the ex and healing. So, if you are that woman that went through infidelity, or you are in a place in your relationship where you're realizing this relationship is not just for you anymore, stay tuned, ladies, and send this episode to a mama friend or a woman friend or any type of friend, really, who is going through a breakup, because breakups are no fucking joke. Breakups are extremely painful, they're heartbreaking, especially when you have literally encompassed and revolved your life around this partnership. And now you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know how to be alone. I don't know how to survive. I don't know how I'm going to pay for my apartment or make my car note. I don't want to raise these kids by myself. There is a whole slew of questions that arise when we are going through a deep loss. Okay. So today we're going to be unboxing what it really means to release the ex and truly heal after a breakup. And trust me, a little over 2 years now, my husband and I separated, and I literally just was so fucking heartbroken. My life was crumbling beneath me. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a husband anymore. I did not know what the fuck I was going to do with my life. And at the time, I was, 33 years old. I felt like I should have had a very well established life. My husband and I should be thriving. I was going to live in the house forever. I was going to have this established job and career. Little did I know, 3 months after he told me I could quit my job, that he wanted a divorce. But that's a whole nother story. Okay. But needless to say, your life feels like it's crumbling. Like the very foundation underneath you is just fucking caving in, and there is no support. Yeah, you might have like family members supporting you. And God, I do hope you have some girlfriends helping you through this situation, because when you go through a breakup, the pain is just unbearable. You need the support. And some of us mamas don't have that support. We don't have family members nearby. Our friends are occupied with their own lives. And so you've got you. And that's what I have to say is you have you, and don't let yourself forget it. You are strong, you are capable, you are powerful. And I know that sometimes being in long-term relationships, we get lost in the relationship and we forget our self-identity. We forget that we are fucking capable human beings, okay? So while we go through this episode, I want you to remember you are fucking capable, and keep an eye out for the Healing Your Heart Center meditation that is going to come out. And that's going to walk you through healing your heart and understanding just how fucking powerful you truly are. Okay, let's talk about it. First, you need to understand, is this relationship something that you are wanting to let go of? And if it is, that's the first step, being honest with yourself, knowing that yes, your heart is in love with this person. you care about this person, but you are not thriving in this relationship. Perhaps you're not getting along, your values are different, your goals don't align anymore, what you want for your future together doesn't align anymore. And you're just realizing the longer I stay in this relationship, the more painful it's becoming. And so being honest with yourself, knowing what direction you want in your life is so important. And I know firsthand how difficult it is and how conflicting it can be to love a person, to not want to let someone go, but know that your future, you just don't see it together anymore. We have to be honest and we have to make the decision to talk about this with that person, right? You have to be able to approach the person and say, this relationship isn't working anymore. We've tried A, B, and C, and I'm still not seeing a future with you. Yes, relationships can end amicably, okay? They don't have to be this drawn out fight. And sometimes I think that people in the back of their minds feel like they have to have this explosive fight in order to break up. That's doing more damage in the end, right? If we can have adult conversations about, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm wanting and desiring in my life, and I'm just not seeing you meeting me there. I think it would be best if we transitioned out of this relationship. That is so much more peaceful than fucking blowing up at each other. Because there's this line in this song that I really love. And the song is by Living Legends, but he basically says, how does love turn into hate? And that is exactly how it happens, is like you can love each other, but then you blow up and you explode. And then there's all this resentment that builds and anger and frustration. And that anger turns to hate. And we don't have to do that to each other. We can end things peacefully. And although we are filled with loss and grief, that is the natural process and response to grieving something that we've lost, right? It is part of it. And that's the reality of it, right? And some of us go through the end of a relationship already grieving the loss of a relationship. And I'm pretty sure that my husband did this because we were trying to work things out and I thought we were progressing one way. And I think that he was already grieving the loss of me. And you might experience that too, or your partner might be experiencing that where deep down the relationship has ended. And so you're literally grieving while you're still with that person. You're sitting in the car, you're crying, you're playing the saddest songs, you're imagining the breakup. Like you are going through that process emotionally before the actual breakup occurs. And I can't tell you that's right or wrong. I can tell you that we all have our own ways to grieving a loss, to processing our own emotions. And so, for those folks who do grieve the loss before the actual breakup occurs, sometimes they find that it's easier to break up that way because you're like, yeah, I've cried the last 3 months because I knew this was coming. And then other people are devastated because they're like, I'm working this out. I'm trying. I'm doing all the things. And then a breakup occurs and it hits them like a fucking bag of bricks right in the heart. And they get the breath knocked out of them. And then they're fucking grieving. They're like, how the fuck did I not see this happening? When you go through a breakup, you have to be understanding of your partner's perspective and as well as yourself. And you have to hold each other with compassion. And I think this is where we lack with breakups is that we get in our own feelings with anger, with hate, with guilt or shame, and we forget to have sympathy for our partner in order to end things peacefully. And I say this because, like I said, people want to explode, right? They want to blow up the relationship because anger is easier sometimes than to have compassion for each other. And so keep this in mind as you are going through your breakup is holding yourself with tenderness and just giving yourself so much love and understanding that healing takes time, okay? Especially if you're breaking up with someone you have kids with, it's going to take time. And if you can do this transition peacefully, it's going to be so much better for the kids. There is nothing worse, in my opinion, than kids screaming and crying and moms crying and dads crying in front of the kids. And even for our younger babes, they don't know what's happening. They don't have the cognitive ability and understanding to be like, oh, okay, mom and dad is breaking up. I'm going to see them each every other weekend. When my husband and I decided to break up, my youngest twin was devastated. And I couldn't understand at the time, like, why it was affecting him so much. Like, of course, yes, mom and dad are not together anymore. That's devastating in itself. But it was like, it was really emotional for him in particular. He explained to me he thought if mom and dad weren't married anymore, I wasn't going to be his mom. And when I explained that I was always going to be his mom, regardless of whether dad and I were together, I remember it was so emotional. We both sat down on the kitchen floor and were just crying together. And it was so devastating, heartbreaking, and so saddening to see one of my children explain to me that he thought I was no longer going to be his mommy anymore. We have to show up for our children even when our heart is breaking. We have to be that stable person for them. And that doesn't mean hide your emotions or put on a brave face. Like, no, fucking cry with them. Help them understand what is happening. When a mom and dad break up, that doesn't mean you're not going to be their mother anymore. That just means you're not going to be living with dad. And so when I explained this to him, although we were, crying and filled with tears on the kitchen floor, he felt better afterwards. He understood more clearly, like, okay, yes, I'm sad because mom and dad aren't going to live together anymore, but mom's still going to be my mom. And sometimes our children go through this, right? But we don't explain exactly what is happening. And so we want to be able to show up with compassion and show up with grace and tenderness and explain to our children what is going on, what is happening exactly, how are they feeling, what are their thoughts. Kids are very confused and they're processing their emotions differently than how we can as adults. So if you can somehow end the relationship amicably and with sympathy, it's going to be better for everyone. And we don't have to lead from a place of hate and anger. And so being mindful of the way you're healing, it can be exhausting. I fucking cried on and off for a year. I literally did nothing but take baths, drink wine, and cry. And I cried every day for months until one day, and it was evening time, and I was like, oh, I didn't cry today. And sometimes that's how healing is. It's like you cry and you cry and you cry, and people wonder how much time does it take? Well, baby, it takes as long as it takes. There is no timeline. And then you wake up one day and you're like, holy shit, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel hatred. Hey, I'm going to be all right. And so letting go of your ex if you don't have kids, okay? Because these are two very different situations. If you don't have kids, End things peacefully, but also you don't need to contact them again. Okay. We prolong the breakup, we prolong the pain by checking in with them or seeing how they're doing, or hey, I have some of your stuff 3 months later. I'd like to see you. And we hold on to them in these ways that creates more pain and upset for us. If you don't have kids with them and you've decided you don't want to be friends afterwards, honey, let go. Make sure that you're giving them their belongings right away so there's no excuse for you to contact them later. You don't want to reopen old wounds, okay? You are special. You are free. You are powerful. And you deserve to protect your peace. And part of protecting our peace is rebuilding that relationship with ourself and releasing the ex. Okay. So you want to move beyond idealizing your ex and thinking about, well, I remember a time where he was so great at this and he did this for me and that for me. And I notice a lot of women do this. They break up with their ex and then all they remember is all the good shit that happened with their ex. And it's like, hold on a minute. Okay. The reason why you broke up is because he fucking broke your trust. He wasn't following through. He didn't have any integrity. Your values didn't align. You wanted different things for your life. He treated you like shit, right? And this isn't to say like I want you to think about all the bad things that happened, but I just want you to remember the reality of it is that you broke up for a reason, okay? This isn't about blaming yourself or romanticizing the past. This is simply about remembering why you broke up to begin with. And a lot of women like to think about, well, I miss the times when he cuddled me in bed, and I miss the times he would make me breakfast, and I miss the times like, but are you remembering the times that he cursed you out and yelled at you and told you what to wear? And he tried to control you and tell you couldn't hang out with your girlfriends? So I want you to be very mindful not to romanticize the relationship and truly release the ex. If you want to journal about the realities and the challenges that you had during the relationship and write down the reasons why you broke up, this can be incredibly grounding, okay? Because what I want you to do is I want you to journal about these things. And then when you do feel that like, oh, I miss him because of this, like go back, honey, and read the journal. Read about what you wrote. And something even more powerful than journaling is writing a letter to yourself of all the reasons that you wanted to move out of this relationship. And think about writing about your future in this letter. Like, being able to release the past and calling forward your future, manifesting what you truly want in a person. Okay, this is also going to help you process your breakup and being honest with yourself about what you truly want. And one of the things that I really like to do when you're going through a breakup is it's a ritual. Okay, so it's a burning ritual. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a picture in front of you of your ex and you're going to write them a letter and you're just going to write down, like, let's not think about it, just fucking write intuitively about all the reasons you love the person, about all the reasons why you left the person, all the shit that they did that you didn't enjoy. Just write whatever comes to mind and do this from a very intuitive place. Beforehand, meditate to drop into your body. You want to create a very beautiful setting. So, lighting some candles, incense, like you're really going to go inwards during this ritual. And then when you have written everything that you can think of to write and you have the picture in front of you, I want you to put the picture in the letter and I want you to fold it. Okay. So you're going to fold it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say this mantra, I release you. I release you from my mind. I release you from my body. And I release you from my spirit. So again, I release you from my mind. I release you from my body. And I release you from my spirit. And then you're going to take that letter and you're going to burn it. Okay. You're going to light that shit up, whether it's in a bonfire, your fireplace, whether or not you get a pot of water and you set it on fire and then you put it in the pot of water and then you dispose of it. Okay, whether it's flushing it down the toilet or throwing it in your dumpster or garbage or whatever, just make sure if you are throwing it in the garbage that it's like literally soaked wet so you don't cause a fire, because that would be super shitty. So try that ritual and just breathe into it. Do it with intuition, do it from a place of spirit. Call in your spirit family even and ask them to help you through this transition. That is a really great way to release your ex. And then also, if you have, like I said, any of your ex's belongings, get rid of it. Tell them to come get it very shortly after you guys break up, or give that shit to Goodwill if they're not willing to come get it. I remember I was like 22 and I had this boyfriend and we were seeing each other for a little while. We were even looking at apartments together. And I had a lot of mine and my 2-year-old son's stuff at his apartment. And he would not give me my shit back. It took weeks and I hounded him, and I worked with him too. So that wasn't a great situation for me. If you have stuff over at your ex's house, like demand that you get it back or send a friend to go get it for you. And also, if you know things are going south and you're about to break up, let me give you a piece of advice. Start taking away your stuff before the breakup happens. If you know it's coming and you're like, yeah, I need to break up with this guy, like go get your stuff before it actually happens so that there is no way this person can hold your things hostage. Because otherwise, in order for you to move on in the relationship, you might have to let some things go. Okay. That's the reality of it, because there are certain people out there like my ex who think that, okay, if I don't give her her things, like she's still going to be waiting around for me. And that's not the case. That's only going to hurt you more. Okay. So connecting with your authentic self. This is going to change the game of healing. As I said, we oftentimes can get lost in relationships and we forget about our own identity. We forget our strength. We forget that we are liberated human beings, or at least we want to be liberated. We forget our own sovereignty. And this is the time during that healing journey to reconnect with your authentic self. Explore your hobbies and interests. After my husband and I split, I started a pottery class. I wanted to try something. So I took a pottery class, and that's how I worked through my emotions. And it was a lot of fun. Rediscovering your passions, your interests. What new skills do you want to try? I want to learn how to play the piano and how to dance skate. So those are things, even in a healthy relationship, you should be doing, right? You should be maintaining your own identity. Okay, so if you want to pick up painting again or learn how to press flowers or to scrapbook, do the things that light you up and bring you joy, because it's going to be a fundamental way to heal yourself, reclaiming who you are again. And then leaning on your support system. Surround yourself with family and friends who uplift you, because being isolated while you're healing from a breakup can be extremely lonely. And that's when we start getting in our heads about like romanticizing the relationship and creating stories and narratives that this partner was good for us. And then next thing you know, we're texting them and calling them. And then we wind up in their bed again. We're like, fuck, how in the hell did I do that? Keep yourself surrounded by people that you trust, that aren't going to judge you, that are going to encourage your healing, and people who are going to be a great listening ear for you. You need this in order to heal. You need to be able to talk to someone. So, whether it's your friends or even a therapist, a coach, girl, just find yourself a support system, okay? And then practice mindfulness and staying present. It's easy to dwell on the past, and there is no timeline to healing, okay? I want you to remember that. There is no timeline to healing. This is all happening at your own pace and what you're comfortable with. But there is a difference between like I'm healing and I'm dwelling. Okay. If you're ruminating about your ex and playing scenarios in your head constantly, there is a point where you're like, I have to take charge of my mind and I have to go find a hobby. I have to go find a way to move forward. I cannot just stay in my bedroom and eat ice cream and binge Netflix for a year. There's like this certain point where you can continue to heal, but also reclaiming and reconnecting with your authentic self without constantly ruminating on your ex. So, practicing being mindful, practicing meditation, deep breathing, journaling, somatic work. If you have anger or trauma and that energy is stagnated in the body, start moving your body, turning on your favorite music that's going to help you exude the anger, or moving your body, dropping in. Don't focus on the mind. Drop into the body and what it feels like and move how you need to move in order to move through the pain. That is going to help ground you in the present moment. When those intrusive thoughts creep in, just notice them, name it. Oh, I'm having a thought about my ex. This doesn't serve me. I'm going to release this. Well, here's how I'm going to release this. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to you know what I love to do? I love to scream. Like when I feel shame or guilt or anger, like stuck in my body, I will put on Korn or Nine Inch Nails or System of the Down, and I will just fucking scream. And sometimes I do this in my office. Sometimes I go up to the mountains and I scream in that way, or I scream in my car. This is so therapeutic for me. And you're going to find your way to release those emotions. Okay, these are just tips for you, but maybe try screaming. Like, just fucking put on your music as loud as possible and just fucking scream. Okay. I screamed and I cried and I punched my floor and punched my punching bag. And I had to let out this anger within me because I didn't want this emotion stuck in my body. I wanted to be peaceful, but it couldn't be peaceful if I was filled with so much hatred and anger. So it was up to me to process those emotions. So you're going to find your way. I just encourage you to find the way, right? And then set new goals and create a vision for your future. And this doesn't have to be like, hey, it's been 3 days after a breakup. This is like, a year down the road. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to travel? Do you want to just experience more joy? Go do more hiking and camping and swimming and connect with friends more? Like, what does that look like for you? Oftentimes, when we are in a long-term relationship, like I said, we revolve our life around the relationship and around the partner, and we lose our identity and we stop doing things that interest us. And then that gets worse even when we have kids, because then our life becomes all about the kids and we're like, I don't know what I like. So explore yourself. Set personal goals. Like, give yourself something positive to focus your energy on and get fucking lit up, okay? Get lit up and excited about your future, because you have this one life to live and you get to live it however the fuck you want to live it, okay? We forget about that. We think that when we end a relationship, it's all doom and gloom and my life will never go on and how am I going to survive? And yes, those emotions are real and they're validated and those thoughts are are there. But there comes a time in our healing journey where we have to be like, you know what? I am more than that relationship. I am more than the girlfriend that was with that guy. Okay. I am more than just a mom. I am more. I am a whole ass human being. I am a phenomenal woman. And I get to experience things that light me up and bring me joy and excitement. This is my life, and I get to decide what happens in my future. And perhaps I'll meet a partner in the future that does align with what I want, that does treat me well, that treats me like the fucking queen that I am. This is all for you. It's all available to you. You just have to believe it for yourself. All right, mamas, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for unboxing with me. It is completely available to you. Everything that you want. It is possible to heal and release the ex. Just be mindful of all the things that I have told you here in this episode and send this to a friend. If you have a girlfriend, a mom that is going through a divorce or a separation and they just need some encouragement, send this episode to them. And join me over at the Moms Unbox Facebook group where I go on live. And we are a little community right now where I'm looking to expand, where we can connect with other women and other moms and just fucking have a space for us. Thank you so much for unboxing with me this week. And don't forget to live a liberated and sensual and unboxed life. Until the next time, sunshine. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of Moms Unboxed. If you have a topic or relationship question, connect with me at I am Melanie Caroline. And don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed. May you live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. Until the next time, sunshine.